Let's start. Hey, welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Stan, and this is, what's your name?
Josh, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, we're gonna go real hard and fast in this one.
Boom.
So,
Ready your
Nintendo just
eyeballs.
announced something. Yep, they're not watching. Well, I guess they're kind
Your
of watching things. You're
earballs.
watching.
Ready your
You're,
earballs.
you're probably
Stan,
watching pictures in the background.
you're meandering. Shh.
All right,
On
I'm
top.
sorry. On top of this, all right, Nintendo announced the thing.
What?
Yes, Nintendo announced the next
No.
NX.
The
Next,
NX. NX.
So this is going to be either a new console or a hybrid of a new console with streaming, or is it downloaded mobile games? Josh, your thoughts? Go.
Well, it's not just that. It's also they're looking into getting they're the D and A, partnering with the Japanese developer of free-to-play mobile games, saying that they're going to be bringing Nintendo franchises to mobile platforms, as well as their current platforms and a new dedicated gaming console. I think that this new console is going to be the thing that saves Nintendo and going to be, I think, going to make Nintendo the last remaining standalone console in conjunction with all the other stuff. I think they're going to adapt to new media pretty well, and I think and I hope that this new console is a hybrid. I want it to be something where you're kind of combining the Wii and the 3DS into one. So you have one console that serves both your home console and your mobile needs. And I think that's going to be a good form factor that will keep their console relevant when the other ones struggle to find anything besides just streaming boxes in your home, that everything's
Right.
rendered server side. So now I'm not saying that those won't have some sort of streaming aspect and you might not buy physical media the same way anymore, but I think it's going to make the home console a useful thing still in that respect.
I don't know what to think of it, honestly. First of all, the first time I heard the news, I thought, well, there it is. Nintendo's cannibalizing their handheld market. But the more I read about it, the more it's like, maybe they're not, because they've already, or Satoru Iwata has promised that he's not going to port, just straight port games from Nintendo's catalog just to mobile devices or mobile phones or iPads or any other tablet, really. And that's because Nintendo games work well with buttons, and you can't really get around that. Every time I try to play a mobile game, like on my phone, or if when I had an Android phone, I would do emulated games. It just was not the same without buttons.
Yeah, I
Like the
agree.
first time when I played Final Fantasy VI on the emulator on my phone, I just stopped after 5 minutes, and I got out my old Nintendo Game Boy Advance, and I popped in Final Fantasy VI. I already had the cart, that's why I had no problem emulating it. But I was like, this game just works so much better when you have actual buttons, especially when you're trying to do Saban's blitz attacks.
Yeah, when I would emulate games on my phone or whatever, I would usually end up plugging a controller into my phone to play it with, just because I didn't like the feel of it in my hands, and I didn't like taking up so much screen real estate with
Right.
buttons. And I
Like when No, go ahead.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, and I don't even think that necessarily they're even talking about maybe the hard hitters coming to the mobile platforms. Like, it might be some of their smaller franchises or just some of their older franchises reimagined in a new, unique way that fits the form factor that it's brought into. So Mario re-envisioned in a way that fits that, or maybe a new Kid Icarus game or something like that.
So here's an example of a game I got that uses mostly like touchscreen. There's a game called Dylan's Rolling Western on the Nintendo 3DS. I got it for free from the Nintendo for being a Nintendo Club member. I just spent some of my coins to get it because Nintendo Club is no more. And I downloaded it. I started playing it. It's a really novel concept. It's a tower defense game, but you're actively defeating enemies that the towers can't get to or the towers can't defeat. And it's used mostly play by tapping and scrolling on the 3DS touchpad. But the problem I have with it is it's constantly played by tapping and scrolling on the 3DS touchscreen, touchpad, touchscreen, what have you. And that gets annoying. That gets hand cramping after just like half an hour of play. It gets to the point where I haven't touched the game in like the past like 2 or 3 weeks because I don't want to keep succumbing to that hand crampingness and the game just gets kind of stale after a little
Yeah.
while. But that's something that I feel will attack Nintendo's own handheld console market. don't you think that at a certain point that will go ahead and give people less and less of a reason? And even during the conference, Satoru Iwata said that he's afraid this will affect some, will say, 3DS game sales. Who knows if the 3DS will still be a console by then?
Yeah,
But
I will say I think it's inevitable that something like that's going to happen, but I think them getting into a place where they're still benefiting from that is good for them because I mean, mobile gaming and people getting away from consoles is going to eat into their market share. So if they're getting IP on those platforms where the people are and getting back some of that market share, yeah, that might cannibalize some of their own market in a way, but I think it's also more so saving it because I think
mhm.
most of those people that would be cannibalized are people who are already away from it. Somebody
Mhm.
like me who hasn't upgraded my DS to a 3DS, it might make me consider buying a Nintendo game on my mobile phone. Just be,
Would you agree though that you're the minority?
I wouldn't say that I'm the minority. I think I'm a pretty average use case of somebody who grew up with Nintendo, has a fondness for Nintendo, but as I've gotten older and don't have a lot of free time or a commute, I just haven't had as much of a need for a handheld console. But if I were able to buy those, and there are a lot of games I really want to play, but I can't justify spending the money on. But if I could get those games in a pretty similar fashion on my phone, to me, that's a very interesting idea. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. And, Nintendo has experience making games with the touch sensitivity and with motion sensitivity, through their time with the Wii and with the DS. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's bringing somebody like me who hasn't put any money into the Nintendo mobile space in years, putting money back into it.
I agree. It is a good way to get some money. I don't even know what this concept is. I don't know if it's a console. It might be a console. They're saying it's a next generation console type idea. I don't know how it's going to integrate with mobile hardware. I have no idea. As a matter of fact, we're supposedly not going to get much more information about it till 2016. It's obscene. And also, I don't believe the notion because a lot of people are saying, well, actually, not just a lot of people. You have also said it that it's going to it's going to make them one of the standalone consoles. I pretty much patently reject that home consoles are going anywhere anytime soon. And here's why. You can't look at the sales numbers of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and even to a lesser extent the Wii U, and say home consoles are going anywhere anytime soon. They sell. They sell like gangbusters. They sold millions upon millions of units. What was it? PlayStation 4, 4 million units in the first month. It outsold the Wii U over and over and over again in the first month that it was released, and I think I'm exaggerating. I think it was actually a lot less than a month. So, how can you see those numbers and say home console gaming is going anywhere anytime soon? Some people don't get the concept of computer gaming, and they don't want to get the concept. They just want to come home, put a disc in their machine with a controller, and then it just work.
Well, I think we are approaching in the next few, and I'll even say decades. I don't think it's going to be, in the next 5 years or anything like that. But I think we're going to hit a point where the fidelity that is demanded from new games and the usability of computers kind of hit this place where they meet, and it favors more and more computing power, and it gets easier and easier to do on a computer or through streaming and stuff like that. And I think that it's going to get too much for a console at a reasonable price point. So I think that at some point in the next few years, Microsoft and Sony will make their last console, and it'll really just be a dedicated streaming box. And they won't be able to really iterate on that because all it is an internet connection, and the only thing they'll be like, oh, we've upgraded to 12K, so buy this card to put into it or something like that. So,
I hope you're wrong. I believe you're wrong, and I hope you're wrong, mostly because internet, especially in the United States, just isn't there. It's not where it needs to be, especially when people say, people that get deployed or people that have video game consoles that don't have an internet connection. I'll take soldiers as an example for obvious reasons. They don't have an internet connection. Most of them don't. They just want to play a video game, and they can right now with any of the major consoles. But if you require an internet connection just to download a game, well, they're just kind of SOL. That's the flack that the Xbox One caught.
And
during
I
E3
I
2013.
think we live in a world right now that that is definitely the case. But I think in a few decades it will look different. I think the landscape and the infrastructure.
If you're talking like 20 plus years out, then yeah, I'm not going to argue with that because I have no idea what the future will hold.
And that's what I'm saying. And I mean, they've touted the Xbox and the PS4 to have a 10-year life cycle. So I mean, we're looking at the 2020s for the next console, and I think that might be the last, real console that's not like a streaming box from the.
It's funny that they touted to have both those consoles a 10-year life cycle when already 1 year out we've already hit the capabilities of what the consoles can possibly do with some of the first games that came out on it. So really, it's just like it's a mid-grade computer they're going to limp to the barn with for the next 10 years. That's fine.
I mean, they did it with They did it with PS3 and Xbox 360, so they'll do it again.
Yeah. All right, I think that about wraps up our thoughts on that one. You know what? I don't see a lot of comments in any of our videos.
Yeah.
People, tell us what you think.
Yeah. Also, if you hit us up in the comments or on Twitter or on Facebook, we can elaborate on the things we talk about in the podcast, and we can have a conversation. And you can tell us we're full of shit or that we're awesome. And either way, we'll give you a high five.
Yeah, if you have to dislike it, don't be afraid to. It lets us know what we messed up on.
Yeah.
Or comment and tell us what we messed up on.
So click the button and then type some words and then hit send. Do it.
Or subscribe if you like it.
Yeah, that one too.
All right. That's going to be the end of this one. That's Unscripted Gaming. And that's Josh.
Yo.
And I'm Stan.
Peace.
All right, bye.